it's this whole awful roller coaster. Like, one day, yesterday is not like today, today is not like tomorrow. I can't plan what I can eat. I can't plan how my GI tract is gonna be. I can't tell you if it's gonna shut down. I can't tell you if it's gonna completely let go and my whole system empties. The struggle is real. Oh my gosh, the struggle is real. Okay, I believe we're up to appointment 5, so it's been a week. So the appointment started on a Tuesday, and then this one happened on a Tuesday. Okay, so with how bad the neurology appointment went, with no help or clue how to help me or test for whatever's going on with the side effects and complications on my side from the feeding tube, I had been sending messages to my GI so she knew what was going on, and I think I sent her, like, I use my chart, so my chart has like a limited amount of characters. Flu apocalypse. So a limited number of characters. It always feels like I'm on Twitter when I'm trying to send her a message on my chart. So with the limited number of characters, I was trying to fill her in on neurology, and I was trying to tell her everything that was going on, and I was just, my body's having such a hard time right now, and I've been having trouble digesting. Well, I can't have red meat anymore. I can't digest it at all. I am having trouble with any kind of vegetable. Oh my god, and I love vegetables. I love them so much. And I haven't been able to have anything raw or cooked. Doesn't matter, like, at all how mushy it is. I had made like potato soup, which is literally like pureed potatoes with a little bit of cream in them. I mean, literally, it's like, there's no substance there. Couldn't digest that. You know, and I'm still running feeds, but I felt so sick that I'm running feeds so slow. I mean, literally, like, all day long I can have it hooked up, and I've gotten like 200 mils, which is literally, and I use Osmolite 1.5, so for every mil you get 1.5 calories. So if I run it all day at the horrible setting that I have it at, because I just feel so bad, if I get 200 mils, that's literally 300 calories. It's been so rough. And so I was just telling her everything that was going on, and that I'm so at my wit's end with the complications, and I have to do something. Like, I have to do something. I can't just hope that it goes away. And so that had gone on. Like, I mean, I told her on Wednesday of the previous week what was going on, and we were kind of going back and forth, and she was asking questions and I was answering stuff, and then they were trying to get me in to see her as like an overbook appointment. And normally what has to happen, because she works at 2 different clinics, and the clinic, the GI liver disease whatever clinic that I go to normally, she's only there a couple days a week, and then she's at the other clinic the rest of the days of the week. But this one is so much farther for me, and I'm really not good in the car right now, and so they always book me at this clinic. And so they kept trying to book me at the other one, and it was just like, I can't handle another hour in the car on top of the already hour that I have to do, like, to get to my regular health system. And so if that happens, what they do is they schedule a day that she's in clinic, but they schedule me with somebody else. Like, they scheduled me with one of her fellows, because she's got several fellows underneath her, and then she's got a nurse practitioner, or 2, I'm not certain. And so they normally put me with one of the nurse practitioners, which they could get me in, like, they could have got me in like last Thursday. But then they figured out that my head GI wasn't going to be in the office, and it does me no good because all of my stuff is so complicated. I'm just gonna say I don't trust anybody else. That's really what it comes down to. And if you're not confident about what you're telling me, and you're not confident in the care that you're trying to give me, literally it is not gonna work for me at all. Like, I can't afford, you know, just to ho-hum somebody's opinion. So anyway, so it took them like Thursday, Friday, Monday, Thursday, yeah, so 3 days to find me an appointment. And so what they ended up doing is they scheduled me for an appointment with one of the fellows on Tuesday. And so how it normally works is I see the fellow or nurse practitioner, and then they go get her, tell her what's going on, and then they bring her in, if I don't have just a direct appointment with her. So okay, so this was Tuesday, and I was trying to think exactly, because I was thinking it was really bad weather, because I had to drive in a monsoon, but I'd had so many appointments. Anyways, it really doesn't matter. So I have the overbook appointment, and it was scheduled for like 3 o'clock, I think. It was kind of a later one. So I get over there, and I get all checked in, and then I'm in the room, and I'm waiting, and I kept expecting the fellow to come in because that's normally how it works. And then in walks my head GI, and she's by herself, and so she just ended up taking the appointment totally. And so she comes in, and she was like, okay, she's like, I just refreshed all of my, you know, information on the chart and all of that. She was like, how are you doing? And I was like, I'm just so miserable. And so we talked over all the things, and, you know, I told her how bad the dehydration is just kicking my butt hardcore. And I was like, you know, I should have gone 2 weeks ago, and I just couldn't handle going a week after I'd had it already. And I was like, and then I should have gone last weekend, which was like 2 days before that. And I was so, my body is just so tired that the drive over there totally sucks. Having to wait in the emergency room sucks. I'm so worried about catching something else in the emergency room. Flu-pocalypse, because that's where I got it from. And so we talked about all the things, and she's very optimistic, which is super adorable, because that's how I roll. And she's so convinced, because part of the problem that I had to go see her about is my large intestine. Like, I have no predictability from day to day, like if stuff is gonna work a little, if stuff is gonna work too much, it's not gonna work at all, and my whole tract is gonna shut down. And I mean, I've been dealing with GI tract shutdowns almost every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks at the most. And like, my large intestine just stops, just doesn't matter how much medication I put into it, like my regular meds. And so we have to do all of this extra stuff. Like, we have a plan in place for when it happens, but when it happens, it's like this inevitable, it blows up everything. And so my GI tract will shut down, then I have to put all the extra stuff in place. And part of the fact that it keeps shutting down is the fact that I'm always dehydrated, always. And so my GI tract, so I'm dehydrated, then my GI tract shuts down, and then we take all this extra meds and laxatives and all sorts of stuff, enemas, Miralax, like 2 and 3 time doses Miralax, and trying to put it in Gatorade. And I can only handle, like, there's a certain volume of like feed and food and liquid that I can put in my system. Doesn't matter how I put it in, doesn't matter if I swallow it, doesn't matter if I put it, you know, like through my J. But I hit this certain level, like whatever the volume is, I don't know what it is, and I literally cannot process anything else, and my whole body just gets rid of it. And so I keep getting sick over and over again, which again is so hard on my body. And so then we do all the extra stuff to get my GI tract going again, and then it starts going, and then it's like it gets rid of all of the moisture in my body, and then I get severely dehydrated. The last time that I waited too long to go to the ER for fluids, I was hospitalized for 3 days, 4 days. I'll put the link to that one up there. And it's so hard on my body. All of this is so hard on my body, and I don't have any extra reserves that I can just be like ho-hum about it. So we talked about all the things, and the medication that I'm on, I'm sure you've seen actual commercials for it. It's Linzess, Linzess. I was on another one called appt, and that one seemed to be working for a little while, and it's almost like an antibiotics resistance, but it's like a large intestine med resistance. Like my body gets to a certain point and then it's just like it doesn't work anymore. The meds don't. So we changed to Linzess, which I had actually tried previous to the appt, and it was like too much. It made me feel like I was gonna get sick all the time. It was really hard to deal with, but things are worse now than they were before. So about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, we had changed to the Linzess, but we tried because they had a baby dose that they didn't have available before, and so I started on like 72 micrograms once a day, and it didn't do any good at all, and my system kept shutting down. And so we doubled it about 2 weeks ago maybe, and so we went up to 145 micrograms, and so now I feel sick all the time, but my tract is still shutting down. So when I went in to see her, she was like, have you changed to the 290? So we decided to like quadruple the initial dose. And she was like, you know, have you changed to the 290 yet? Because my GI tract had shut down 2 days before I got in to see her again. And I said, no, I just got the prescription yesterday. And she was like, I called in that prescription like 2 weeks ago for you. And I was like, no, it was actually only about 5 days. And I said my pharmacy had to order it. And she was like, oh, Lordy. I was like, what I feel like it's, 2 weeks ago, and it was just a couple days. It was really funny. And I said, so I have it picked up, but I had already had to nuke my GI tract. So I didn't want to put extra meds on top of it, because normally like everything just clears out of my system so fast, and I didn't want to turn it into like a really dangerous situation where I get dehydrated on top of dehydrated, which is just an awful feeling because everything is just bad. So we walked through some stuff to make sure that everything was like really out of my system, and so we set that we were going to start the 290 the day after, which would have been Wednesday. And then I keep like a log. It's actually for my headaches and migraines and whatnot, to track if the Botox is doing any good. And on the very far left of it, like I keep track of how many times I go to the bathroom, or if I even go to the bathroom on any given day, and how awful it was. And it gives me an idea, like very visually, and I can track it for long periods of time as to good, bad, totally shut down, good, bad, totally shut down, which is how it's been going. It's like this awful roller coaster, and I can't find anything that actually like settles it out and gives me any repeatability. So we're sitting there talking about all the things, and she was like, okay, so you're going to do all this stuff to make sure that you're totally cleaned out, and then you're going to start the 290 tomorrow. And I said yes. And she's like, so do you want to go to the emergency room today for fluid, or do you want to wait until 2 days from now when it gets critical, because that's normally what happens? And I said, well, it's funny that you say that, because I said, I figured I would just go today because I'm already here. It's literally like half a block down the road, the emergency room is, from where I see my GI. And she was like, I will call over there and I will give them a heads up as to what's going on. And she was like, you don't need to be admitted unless your blood work shows up completely jacked, which normally it doesn't. She's like, or you have a kidney infection, or, anything else that we're not aware of. And she's like, if you just need fluids, hopefully they can just get you in, get you a couple bags and get you out. And so I told her that I totally agreed with that. And I said, I should have gone over the weekend, but I said, it's getting so hard on me to make those trips, because I can't, so I have no idea how long I'm going to have to wait in this like incubation of germs in the waiting room in there. And it's a huge space, and the hospital is huge, and there's been times that I've gone in there and there's literally like one other person waiting, and there's been times that I go in there and they've been struggling because their beds were all full and there's like 40 people waiting in front of me. It's not ideal. And so she kind of pauses and she goes, you know how I feel about ports, which she doesn't like them. She thinks there's such a risk for infection, which they very much are. And she goes, but honestly, with everything that's going on, she's like, I really think you should probably talk to cardiology and see what they say. She's like, you know, I'm not in love with the idea by any means. You know, she's like, I hate to put you at higher risk of infection and anything else. And she's like, but I know this is taking a toll on you. And I told her, and I paused and I said, you know, I wrote you a letter, and I did. I had it with me. And I had taken the letter that I had written my primary that got me nowhere, and I rewrote it to my GI, so I had it with me. And I said, I've written you a letter about the port. And she was like, oh lordy. I mean, she's so funny. Like, we were F-bombing the whole appointment, and oh my gosh, just, I really like her. And I said, so I wrote you a letter telling you all of the reasons that I see and feel that a port would help my quality of life. And I said, but I haven't given it to you. And she's like, well, why haven't you given it to me? And I said, partly because you have not wanted to talk about it at all. And I said, I really felt like I needed to wait for a point that I felt better, that I felt like maybe I was stronger, that I could be a better advocate for myself when we talked about it, like really talked about it. And she was like, I very much understand that. And I said, you know, well, let me go to the ER and let me get a fill up. You know, I feel like I'm going to the gas station at this point, which is so bad. And I think that was about all we talked about. So, but the appointment was good. I started crying again during part of it because we were talking about how often my tract was shutting down. And it just, it's this whole awful roller coaster. Like, one day, yesterday is not like today, today is not like tomorrow. I can't plan what I can eat. I can't plan how my GI tract is going to be. I can't tell you if it's going to shut down. I can't tell you if it's going to completely let go and my whole system empties. The struggle is real. Oh my gosh, the struggle is real. And so we set all the things in place for the emergency room. And so she was going to call over there. And so I left her office at like 3:50, and I got to the emergency room right at 4 o'clock, like almost exactly on the dot, 4 o'clock. And I'm going to stop here and then I'll cut another video because it was quite a trip to the emergency room. It was a rough one this time. So give it a like and a subscribe below. And I think I've got one more video for the Poopy week. Could be 3. We'll see how it goes. Alright, love y'all. Bye!